That's awesome.
All right, we appreciate it. Thank you.
Okay.
Yeah, appreciate it.
We will move on to reports.
I'll honk moving forward.
But thank you for all your hard work out there. Thank you.
Looks great.
Thank you. Yep.
We will move on to reports. I'll start with Mr. Kinnaman. I've never seen him that quiet.
It's been a
Well,
long
it's because
day.
the one you started
it's
over
been
there.
long.
I
the
take
other-
turns.
Now you're changing it up on them, you know.
Yeah, usually.
I
you've
go
normally
back
started
and
over there.
forth.
Anyhow, with the Chamber of Commerce, next Friday is our monthly breakfast, and Mr. Chuck Stoner of New Michigan Realty, who is in the room, will be our presentation, updating us on the real estate market. So, be a great breakfast to attend.
Mr. Mattson.
Nothing to report. Thank you.
Now we'll go over here to Mr. McCanny.
The Holly Dickens Festival Board met last night, kicking off the planning and preparing for next festival. This year's festival was highly successful, and there's a lot of exciting things planned. So pay attention to the website and more news to come.
Okay,
Mr.
so
Burton.
yes, thank you. So Haya did not meet. We will actually be moving the date because the original day would have been President's Day, of which the library where we would typically meet was closed. So we moved that date to the 24th. A few things coming up with Little League. Registration has been extended until February 28th, so you can sign up until that date to avoid a late fee. There are a few fundraisers coming up for Little League. They have a bowling fundraiser on March 7th at Holly Lanes. That is dependent upon how many people sign up. So either it will go on or it won't, just depending on the number that sign up. And then there is a comedy show fundraiser on March 12th at the Beale Street Barbecue there in Fenton, and that is $25 a person. There's a link on Holly Little League's Facebook page where you can follow to get there. And then the clinics for Little League start next Tuesday. So if you have a player who will be playing and interested, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, they're $5 per player to go to these clinics.
It's 4 degrees outside. We got a clinic for Little League baseball.
Well, it is in the middle school gymnasium, though.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Until I make them run outside. No, I'm just kidding.
All right. Now I'll turn to my treasurer.
Nothing too new, just similar to the last meeting, taxes are due by the end of this month, otherwise they're going to the county. So if you're able to pay them, come in this week or next week to get them paid. And we'll be open on Friday the 28th to collect them as well, 9 to 5.
9 to 5 on Friday the 28th. Okay.
And if anyone is struggling, there are resources within the county.
Yes.
Correct? Yep.
Yeah, if you have, especially if you have any delinquent balances already at the county, reaching out to contact them already starts you on the right process. You just have to give them a call.
Okay. Township clerk.
No report.
Nothing to report. Okay, that leaves it with me. So I got 3 things. First of all, we've had a flurry of social media focused on the township. My biggest problem is people not having information, but posting on social media like they know it all. We're open here. You can come in and talk to us, ask questions. There was so much misinformation out there that you can't even begin to try to get on there and straighten it out. It's worse than Christmas lights at Christmas time. The 2 things that were stated more than once that I do want to correct was it talks about the township being closed for a length of time in December and in January, when the reality was we were open the Tuesday before Christmas and the Thursday after Christmas. No, the Monday before Christmas and the Thursday after Christmas. Christmas Eve and Christmas we were closed, but we were open those 2 days. The next week, which would have been New Year's, we were closed due to illness. I had one person that was willing to come in, but in this day and age, we don't open the office and collect money with only one person in the building. We just don't do it. That's the decision I've made. I've talked to other communities. Nobody opens their building with just one person. So that being said, in January, we had 1 week where we were closed again due to illness. And again, I can't have just one person coming in.
It was 2 days, not a week, right?
Well, there was 1 week that we were closed 2 days. You're
Okay.
correct. Just like the one in December.
Yeah.
In December, there was 1 week where we were closed 2 days,
Mhm.
and the other 2 were holidays. And then in January, there was a week where we closed 2 days. Again, because of illness, I only had one person that was here and able to come to work, and we're not doing that. So I just wanted to get that out there because it made it sound like we were closed for an unreasonable amount of time. And that's what happens in a small office when people are on vacation or people are out of town. And those that are left to run the office, if they get sick, then we don't have anybody to open. So that was, I wanted to touch base on that. Second, I wanted to talk, we have, talking about the farmstead, we have a grant that we had received last year for the community garden, which our intent is to have that open this year. And with everything we were doing last year, the grant, we ended up with pushing it to the limit for the date that the grant was to be completed. We reached out to the grantor, and we got an extension, and, well, shoot, did I get that separate? I think so. So the grant was extended through November 30th of '25. And that grant money was to put an 8-foot deer fence around the community garden. Because the farmstead has a lot of deer that pass through going over to Schwartz Creek to get a drink. And planting a garden becomes food for the deer and not food for the people. So around the community garden portion of it, we will have an 8-foot fence that's built for keeping deer out. And that's part of what this grant is for. It also covers the well and the other things needed with that. So I wanted to pass that information out to you. Then I wanted to report, I don't know if some of you have seen this on social media, but I'll send this out. We had a, I'm not gonna read you the whole thing, but I'll read you the incident summary. On the morning of February 19th, which is today, Captain Dunbar was off duty leaving a local business when he noticed a man had collapsed in front of the CVS pharmacy. Recognizing the emergency, Captain Dunbar immediately called for assistance from the local fire department, Holly Village Fire Department, while making his way to the patient. Upon reaching the man, Captain Dunbar quickly assessed his condition, found that he was conscious and not breathing. Without hesitation, he began performing CPR. Holly Village Fire Department was on another call and requested additional emergency medical support from NACFA, bringing more personnel and resources to the scene. And they were able to save that man's life and get him to the hospital. I'll pass this out so that you have a copy of it. There's more specific information, but I thought we could all use some good news. And
It's amazing.
that was worthy of putting our first responders in this weather, even when they're not on duty, are out there working and saving lives. So
Will they be doing something for him at the NACA meeting, do you know?
that'll be up to Chief Lyle, but I'm sure they'll do something.
Okay. 'Cause I know the village does stuff when like they do.
NACFA
something.
typically does theirs. They have an annual banquet every year, and they recognize the officers. One person might have 2 saves, one person might have 3 through the course of the year. You know, the village of Holly covers the folks in the village, but NACFA covers both the outer part of Holly Township and all of Rose Township. And between the two, they have a lot of calls and a lot of incidents over the course of the year. So they don't necessarily do these big awards. I was present when Genesee County, or not Genesee County, Genesis Hospital put in a new program for stroke victims. And the first patient happened to be a patient that NACFA picked up, got him to Genesis, got into the program, and because of that program, the guy made a full recovery. But it's all about time and quickness and doing the right thing. And they had an award at the hospital because we were the first unit that had a patient for that new program. So they do get awards at different times, just not necessarily the same way the village does.
Right. Okay. Just wondering. Thanks.
Okay? We will move on from reports to, okay, what did I do with the, somewhere in that shuffle, I lost my agenda. Is it here?
Public comment.
Tonight's agenda.
Yeah, you can have mine.
I just need to know where I am next. Next is public comment. Karen, if you'll read that public comment, while you do that, I'll figure out where I shuffled my agenda.
Public comment on agenda items only. Members of the public can address the board on agenda items only once recognized by the supervisor. Comments are limited to a maximum of 3 minutes.
There it is.
The board may extend this time by a majority vote. Prior to addressing the board, members of the public shall state their name and address for the record. A second public comment is available after new business for all other comments. Thank you for your cooperation.
Okay, I found my agenda, got shuffled into the papers. Anyone for public comment? Randy?
Randy Finkbeiner, 15335 Catalina Way. Under new business item 3, you've got your spring and fall cleanup dates set and scheduled. I just wanted to let the board know and the public know that May 3rd is also Rose Township's cleanup, and they go from 8 to 4. And the fire department, which I'm part of, has a tradition of helping. So we've run into this conflict before that when each township has it on the same day, that divides our very limited resources to even less. But as we have always tried to do, we always try to be at both of them and help both. But just wanted to let them know, I don't know if you coordinated, it could be an asset for both townships on the same day. It could be a detriment, so just, I've been there before where we've had Rose Township show up at Holly Township. I've turned around and said, you've got one right down the road, and that's where you need to go.
So, just so you know, those dates are what we land on with the company that supplies us with the trucks.
Correct. And
We don't get to call and say, we want it here. They call and tell us, here's what's available to you.
and each township uses a different company.
Exactly.
So, just a point of reference.
All right, thank you. Anyone else for public comment? Okay, we will move on to old business. Employee policies and procedures amendment to section 6.07, paid sick days, proposed resolution 2025-01. Karen?
We talked about this before, and we were gonna come back and present, possible increase to the sick days, of which we weren't able to get to. So because this was gonna happen on, it goes into effect the 21st, we thought that we could approve it as is and then bring something back. But I also did a webinar today through the Michigan Municipal League. And it sounds like we may not even be under this because it's for anybody with 10 employees and over. And this particular attorney said that the elected officials are not considered employees, where we had thought prior that they were considered employees. So it looks like we may not even fall under this.
And to clarify, just to clarify, the reason the elected employees aren't considered is we don't get sick time. We don't get that kind of stuff. So it wouldn't make sense for us to fall under that for benefits that we don't receive anyway.
Right.
Yep.
So it was just to state that we follow the guidelines of the law at this point, and then we can bring, additional days to you when we can do that research.
And it doesn't necessarily, this doesn't decrease what they already get, which is
Right.
already more than the requirement, because she made sure to put in there no less than 1 hour for every 30 hours. And the 1 hour for every 30 hours is a requirement. So we can give them more, which our procedures already do.
Right.
This is just to make sure that,
We follow.
baseline.
yeah.
All right, Chair would entertain a motion.
Make a motion to approve the employee policies and procedures, amendment to section 6.07, paid sick days, proposed resolution 2025-01.
Motion by Burton, is there support?
Support. Arm wrestle for
Support by Kinnaman. I need a roll call, please.
Derek Burton,
Yes.
Jennifer Ryan,
Yes.
Karen Winchester, yes, Ryan Matson,
Yes.
Mike McCanny,
Yes.
Richard Kinnaman,
Yes.
George Cullis.
Yes. Motion carries 7-0.
Can I comment on this just for a second?
Oh,
Sure.
sorry.
That's okay. Some of this is still in flux yet too, because the House has a version and the Senate has a version, and they are in negotiation phase. And as well, there's a recommendation from the governor to postpone all of this until July to give them a little more time to work it out. And so there's a lot of stuff spinning in the next couple of days on this, so.
Yeah.
The problem was the first thing they did do had a date to,
Yeah, the 21st of
Right,
February.
yes.
so we had to do
what-
that.
What the State Supreme Court did set the date as the 21st. And the two legislatures are trying to beat that date. And they're not sure if they're gonna hit it or not. And so there is the possibility of legislation just to postpone.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Number 2 is the appointment zoning board of appeals alternate. We still have an opening for that. I haven't had anybody step forward yet. So, if anybody's interested in getting involved in the zoning board of appeals, it's an interesting committee for the township. It hadn't met in 6 or 7 years, and then all of a sudden it had to meet twice.
Twice, yeah.
But we do have new building coming in, so we might have some more. But that position will remain open until I have somebody that steps up.
And with that being said, that individual wouldn't have to show up unless they were called upon as to.
Correct.
Alternate, yeah,
Right.
we didn't have a quorum for
Right,
some reason.
okay, all right.
Well, it's how many people are on the board? It's only 3.
5.
Is it 5? Yeah. So,
So this would be a 6th person.
right.
Okay.
Okay. So there's no action taken.
So do we want to just bring it back when you find somebody instead of keeping it on the agenda?
Well, my fear is if we do that, we'll forget about it.
Okay.
So let's leave it here while we
Okay.
try to
And
get
it'll,
it fixed.
it'll remind the residents once a month that we need
Yeah,
somebody.
that we need somebody, yeah.
Yep. Okay. The HRC new Township Hall presentation. Karen, you wanted that on the agenda?
No, I thought that we would need to talk about it further, but I don't think we do.
Okay, so
So
no
there's a
action,
possibility.
no
yeah.
action at this time.
Just a
Right.
question with that, for the March meeting, was it the plan that they would have the more information for us as far as like bonds? And-
We're kind of working
Yes,
that way.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yep.
awesome.
Okay.
And there will be multiple companies that sounded like we were gonna try to come, or are
Yeah.
we gonna just work with
We're-
one, or?
No, well, we're gonna reach out.
Okay.
I can't make them come.
Right.
We'll reach out.
Right. All right.
Okay. New business, purchase offer for Holly Township Park, parcel 0124355023. Proposed resolution 2025-02. Karen, did you want to take that, or do we want,
Chuck to take it?
Chuck, you want to come up and,
I can say one thing, that the attorney went meticulously through the purchase agreement and had amendments, so you see the strikeouts and the addendum are from the attorney.
okay. Mr. Stoner.
Good evening, Chuck Stoner, 5163 East Holly Road, here today to represent New Michigan Realty. The current property, we had an offer in on a month and a half ago or so. And one of the things we had to make sure was that the revisions in the contract were protecting the township. So it took several revisions and conversations between Karen and George and myself and the attorney to make sure that we had everything set up to protect the township once the sale goes through. I think we're at that point now. We've done a lot of revisions, and going forward, we'll know exactly what we're having to deal with as well. This is a little bit of a learning curve, not only for myself, but I think even for the township, because you don't get tax sale property to sell every so often. It's very, very random. So, but I think we got everything set, and we're good to go. And then we're going to use this as a template going forward for any other sale, because we do have one other property listed. So we'll be looking at that.
All right, and the sale price?
On this property is $5,000. That was the list price. So
Okay.
it was a full price offer for the property.
All right. Chair would entertain a motion.
Oh, yeah, go ahead.
Discussion after
Yeah,
the
right.
motion.
Yep. I will make a motion to approve proposed resolution 2025-02 for the purchase offer of the Oak Park parcel 01-24-355-023.
Support?
Motion by Burton, support by Winchester. Is there any further discussion?
So I mean, I don't know how to read one of these, to be honest with you. I haven't a clue what this is. Those are 9 things of a foreign language to me. Can you like maybe describe simply a little bit about this property? Because
Yes.
like, does it have lake access? Because I know there's a
It
lake
does.
back
It's
there.
it's a non-buildable lot
Okay.
that does have, based on the development that's where it's at, it does have access to the lake. And so there's, in the value of someone having that property, while you can't build on it, you could, it gives you access to the lake, which would allow them to be able to come and fish and,
Right.
be out on the lake. I think it's, to be honest with you, I think that's an all sports lake, actually, technically.
It's a small lot.
It's very small, and it's a very small lot, like you said. It's at the very end of the road, and so the lot itself is really for someone to be able to come and be able to recreation on the lake more than anything. They'll pay a small tax on it every year and be able to have access. It's more than anything. Maybe pop up a tent, spend the night or something, because it's the property. They can't do anything long-term, but obviously they can enjoy the fruits of having that little parcel of land.
We actually do have some people in that subdivision that come for like 2 weeks at a time, which is the limit. And you can set up your camper and hang out,
Absolutely.
so.
No, I don't know how this works, and this may be directed this way, but that's on a private road, correct?
Yes.
So if there's upkeep, this individual knows they may be responsible for, and there's some kind of agreement that they have to help with.
It's a private
So,
road.
so this is an
Right.
older, this
Okay.
isn't,
They have a homeowners
Okay.
association.
Okay, that's all I need to know.
yeah, but let's clarify, this is an older subdivision from the 1930s. And while there is a homeowners association, it's voluntary because it's not part of the deed restriction.
It is on some of them. Some of them wouldn't sign off.
So
Yeah, so-
what I said was it was a volunteer basis.
Right.
It wasn't part of the original
And-
development.
So should
And
we?
I say that, let me finish. I say that because we had a problem. They came to this board several years ago wanting to know if we could set up a special assessment district. And we thought we couldn't help them do that, except when we got involved with it, you get 1 vote for every foot of property you own road frontage. And there are a couple of people in that park that own multiple vacant lots and would vote against it. So we were never able to make it mandatory. It is a voluntary homeowners association where they try to raise money to plow the streets and keep it up. But it has been a problem. I just wanted to
So
state that.
should this, since it is a piece of township property, include that responsibility to that individual buying it? That they would have to pitch in for whatever these owners of all these properties are doing
Because the
together?
homeowners association isn't an officially set up
It is
association.
official.
Is it? So then
Yeah, so if that property was part of that, bought into that maintenance agreement, then it would automatically transfer to them
Okay.
with the purchase.
But if they're not, then this person has no responsibility to, even though they're a new owner of this property.
Right, correct?
Right.
Yeah,
They
because
would,
there
if-
are no
if-
deed restrictions connected to the original plat.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
I don't know how this works. That's what I'm asking. Because it
Yeah.
seemed to
If it
be
was-
like we correct it and say, so
If it-
as these people, all these hands get changed, then they're all eventually under it as all these properties
That
turn
makes
over.
sense.
Yeah.
And to be honest with you, I don't know if we could even get the list of who is and who isn't.
Yeah.
Because it's private, we don't have access to that. So liability-wise, we're not on the hook for that. We just can tell them that there is. We don't know if you're part of it already or not, because it's a private association and they don't disclose any of it in the public records.
Okay.
So it doesn't show up in any of the public records that we have access to.
Okay.
Good question.
And we haven't been billed for it, so I'm assuming that it's not
Yeah.
a part.
Yeah, that's a good point, because they haven't said anything to us. Yep, so it probably hasn't, because there's no structure,
Right.
mainly.
I like and the fear is too, is say Joe is paying 80% of all this work to get done. Something happens to Joe. I mean, this isn't necessarily their problem, but then nobody's doing anything, and that road is just crumbling. And
Well, that's
Nobody's
actually,
getting
that's
out.
actually
Actually,
why
I
they
think-
came to us.
okay.
Yeah, because I think there was one gentleman one time just had his tractor out there, and he's the one that would grade the, if you want to call them roads. He would just do it himself, he just did it because he lived there and he
Yeah.
wanted to be able to at least get to his house.
They've hired people now.
Have
so
they?
They're, yeah.
Yeah,
Yep. All right. We have a motion with support. Roll call, please. Oh, one last thing, I'm sorry. Just so the board understands, as a township supervisor, by law, I'm the CEO of the township. However, because of title companies, they require that the board approve a signer for closing. This board, in the last session, when we had a 5-member board, actually signed a paper that put the supervisor in perpetuity as the signer for real estate deals, with the clerk as the backup in the absence of the supervisor. So just so you know, that's in existence, and it's been there. Any other discussion? Let's go ahead and do roll call.
Richard Kinnaman,
Yes.
Michael McCanny,
Yes.
Ryan Matson,
Yes.
Derek Burton,
Yes.
Jennifer Ryan,
Yes.
Karen Winchester, yes, George Cullis.
Yes. Motion carries 7-0.
Thank you for
There-
your work on it, Chuck.
There is a petition, there is a paper in your packet regarding the tri-county, tri-party program with Oakland County. There is no action to be taken on this tonight, but we put it in the agenda because we have a new board. Tri-party funds are a program that the county road commission set up to help maintain the roads. By tri-party, what it is there is 1/3 comes from the road commission, 1/3 is covered by the road commission for engineering, and then 1/3 is covered by the township. And they appropriate, I think if you read in the letter, they appropriate $3 million each year for this program, and it gets divided up based on the mileage that you have, the road needs, but you'll see here where our money, our allocation is 60. Well, we have, what am I reading, the 2,000? Oh, unused money, okay, was $2,007. And then our allocation, Karen, why isn't this number mentioned? All of a sudden, I'm going backwards.
I don't,
So if you
It's-
take the total
oh,
budget all shares up top, that's the
58,
difference
yeah.
between the 60,650 is the cost. Then you take the 2,000 away, and then it comes up to that 58 is, I believe, how this is working.
Well, what they're doing is they're adding the 60,650 and the 2007, which is the refund, which totals 6257, but I don't understand where the,
Up at the top is the amount, the 58,643. At the very top, there's that box that say at a glance summary, which is then the variance between 60,650 and 2007. Down at the bottom. I don't know what that 62,657
I
is
don't
either.
either.
that's what all of a sudden I thought,
Right.
why did it drop to 58?
Yeah.
Well, I guess I'll have to look into that. If I find something interesting, I'll report it next month. But so you know, this is the money we put aside. We hold on to this money. We have used it since I've been in office for graveling the roads. We did a $250,000 project on the northwest corner of the township. Then after that, we did another project for the southern part of the township, and we've been up over toward Dixie Highway with the last project, which was 147,000, I think, somewhere in that neighborhood. But these are the funds that we hold on to for anything we might do regarding the roads. We don't actually approve the expenditure until we have the project. So you may see it come back to you.
And since we're not voting on this, can I ask one more thing? Now, does this usually come with the, and I just think it's interesting to look at all the road names and the amount that they're using, so whenever this comes through officially, we'll get that.
That's the dust control.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That's the chloride,
Okay.
yeah. You'll be getting that in the next couple of months,
Yeah,
probably
yep.
April or May.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's always interesting to see.
Yeah. Okay, and for the residents to know, now that you brought it up, the township handles the chloriding for both the village and the township.
Mm-hmm.
So the dirt roads that are in the village are all part of the same program.
Yep.
All right. Then we will move on to the fall cleanup, which Randy spoke of in public comment. I do have a paper, I just wanted to give you an idea. What we're approving tonight are the dates. Oh, come on, let go. I had everything in nice order and for somehow I got it shuffled. Here it is. So, fall cleanup, when I first came into office, they were running between $12,000 and $14,000 a year. We made some changes to it over the years. We do paper recycling only in the spring, because that company charges by the hour. So we bring them out for a minimum of 2 hours, and we tell everybody you can recycle paper between 12 and 2, and it's been working well. We haven't had more than what we could handle in the 2 hours. You can see on here the different rates they charge. It's the one that says,
We don't have that. I made that for you today.
pardon?
We don't have that. I made that for you today, remember?
Yeah, it says card member services. That was the amount.
No, I know, but you were saying you can see. None of us can see that.
Oh, I'm sorry. We didn't have copies for everybody. Gotcha. Okay. Well, so the spring cleanup for 2024 ended up running $8,369.
This is the total for the whole year. This is spring.
Okay. There's a reason she's the treasurer and I'm not. So apparently over here it's running a total for all the years,
For the
but you
year.
have to jump back over here for the specific. Okay, so for the fall cleanup, it was $5,682. And then the other one was $3,705. Now that's quite a difference from what we used to spend, but this year it's even lower than it was because we got a grant to get rid of the tires in the township. And I want to tell you, we had that trailer there through the summer, along with a couple of trailers for the Clark property. And I think we got rid of 5 semi-trailers worth of tires. So Holly Township is much lighter than it was at the start of last summer. And we had people coming in with the trailers. Now, the good news for the residents is we used to charge $5 for the small tires, $10 for the bigger ones, and more money for the farm and the big tractor tires. With this grant money this year, we didn't have to do that. So the residents saved money and were able to get rid of all the tires they could get rid of. And we even opened it up to the commercial businesses like Ed Coleman and them that normally had to pay to get their tires taken away. We had the grant, it included everybody in the township, so we let them all know and everybody used it. I know Glenn Mitchell called me and made a special appointment to bring his up. He says, I probably got 15 or 20 of them. And the first truck had 35. The second truck had another 40. He was emptying out the back of a barn. So it really helped get rid of a lot of tires. And I know they did 2 semi-loads off of the Clark property that had been back there. So that's good news. What we're here to do tonight is to approve the dates. And I already explained earlier, those dates are arranged with the company that services us.
I'll make the motion.
But let me finish. But at the same time, we're gonna approve the expenditure of funds, and I would say not to exceed $12,000, okay?
I'll make the motion to approve the 2 cleanup dates of May 3rd and October 4th, with expenditures not to exceed $12,000.
Support.
Motion by Kinnaman, support by Mattson. Any further discussion? None appearing, roll call, please.
Brian Mattson,
Yes.
Michael McCanny,
Yes.
Richard Kinnaman,
Yes.
Karen Winchester, yes. Jennifer Ryan,
Yes.
Derek Burton,
Yes.
George Cullis.
Yes. Motion carries 7-0. Oh, now we gotta deal with the bills for payment. Mr. McCanny.
Yes. So I had a question on the 249 building fund. The second line item for building inspector, 01/16/25 to 01/31/25, it jumped up to $22,760. And the rest of the line items are basically in the hundreds. I was just curious about, I didn't understand why that jump was in there, whether it was a
It was a,
I had that same question.
membership,
It was a-
bills.
too.
The manufacturing, Shannon Manufacturing,
Mhm.
it's their building permit.
Oh, okay,
So these are all driven as a percent of the permit fees.
okay, perfect.
And I also noticed quite a few attorney charges, so is it just consultation of various things? I imagine
Yes.
there's probably a lot of conversations being had with the, or the thing that we just passed in regards to the sick
The-
leave and
This-
stuff like that.
Right, but
Yeah.
it's, just, yeah, it would be things like the Oak Park.
Yep.
Yeah, that, I'm trying to think of all the
We have-
things
we
that
have-
we
Lots
have.
of code.
Lots of
We have a lot of code enforcement issues.
Yeah.
And they bill us for each project separately?
Yes,
that
so
we keep
that's
track
why
of
you'll
that?
see,
So it's all
um,
Yeah,
part of
that's
it,
why
all
they're
part
like
of it.
$7 and
Right,
$11
yeah.
and,
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, so we put them in separately so we can actually find the invoices and.
Yeah, match them up.
Right,
Cool.
We have several code enforcement issues that are in court. We have, Amy's on the phone with the attorney, probably more than any of us lately, due to code enforcement and some of the things that are going on.
Gotcha.
Some of them make you shake your head.
anything with.
They come in the office, they're told they can't do it, they turn around
They
and
do
want to go
it, they
do it.
do it anyway, yep.
And it's like, are you kidding me? And the sad part is, they can do it and get away with it, and you can't even go to court and say, he just did this, stop. You have to go through this lengthy process of notifying and going to the court and going back.
Yeah.
And sometimes some of these, this board, on a couple of them in the past couple of years, has granted another 60 days. And we grant it, because they come to the board and say, I need more time, and we try to work with everybody. And then eventually, they run out of excuses, and we have to go to court and go, enough's enough. And we have to do it.
Yeah.
We've been working one property in the township, I think we've already taken 40,000 pounds off that property. That they had just stuff that had collected over the years, but when you think of that magnitude, it's almost beyond your comprehension.
And he has another property in another town
In
that
another-
has the same
That they're doing
problem.
this, yeah, the same thing, so, yeah, a lot of the attorney fees are for a lot of different things going along.
Yeah.
And then even something as simple as, in the last couple of days, we had a FOIA that had a question in it, and Karen and I kind of looked at each other and I said, just to be safe, you better call and find out
Yeah.
if we're allowed to give that information out, because it was unusual outside of the normal realm of a FOIA.
Yeah.
And I can tell you this, we get FOIA requests, I get them from attorneys out of different states, and oftentimes, we're not even the right person for the FOIA request. Then we had a legal document, remember a couple of years ago? That legal document that came in and said it needed my signature on it. and it was George Cullis, West Bloomfield Township Supervisor. Remember that one? And I'm like, what do I do? What the heck? Can we just cross it off and change the name, or do we need to get do they have the right information, which, and a lot of that stuff has to go back to the attorney, because we
Yeah.
have to make sure we do it the right way.
Right.
And with this real estate deal, it was such a simple deal. We didn't think to send that one to the attorney. She happened to hear us in a conversation talk about, she said, I haven't seen that. I need to see that. So we sent it to her and went, oh, like I said, we didn't think it was that big a
Yeah.
deal.
Yeah.
But now we've got it all worked out so that as we go forward, and it's better to do it on the small lot than to have a buyer for the big property and get hung. So,
Cool.
that's what we do. So, they differ. And a lot of that gets paid out of general fund, and a lot of it comes out of zoning and the building
Yeah, all the
permits.
applicants get charged, their escrow
They get
gets
back charged
They
for
have to
that,
pay
so.
for it.
Okay, that puts us at the end of the meeting.
Do we need to do a roll call to?
We could
Oh,
do a
yes.
roll
Oh,
call
yeah, we
vote
gotta-
to pay the
Gotta
bills.
vote to pay those bills.
Oh, yeah. Well, a motion and a support, and
Are you making the motion? Go ahead.
I'll make a motion to approve the bills for payment.
Support?
Motion by Winchester, support by Burton. We need a roll call.
Karen Winchester, yes. Jennifer Ryan,
Yes.
Derek Burton.
Yes.
Ryan Matson,
Yes.
Michael McCanny,
Yes.
Richard Kinnaman,
Yes.
George Cullis.
Yes. Motion carries 7-0. That will take us to the last public comment. Is there anyone for public comment? Going once, twice? I have a feeling, do we have a swearing in coming up? We do. You want to do that downstairs?
Yeah.
Okay. Then we can close this meeting at 7:28. Told you.